Welcome to the 15th Sunday after Pentecost. It is Sunday, September the 1st, 2024. This is the Manna at the Tap podcast, where we as a community actively seek the spiritual nourishment our souls crave. I'm Gloria, your fellow traveler on this spiritual journey, and together we offer and receive insights and interpretations from the daily lectionary readings, which provide the manna designed to nurture our spiritual growth. The writer of the book of James was one of Jesus's brothers, but he only believed in him after the resurrection. And according to early Christian tradition, his book was addressed to Jewish Christians who experienced persecution initiated by King Herod Agrippa. Bear this in mind as you read the book of James. He himself practiced and lived out the nuggets of wisdom that are scattered throughout the book. And he was beheaded, becoming the first apostle to be martyred. The early Christians struggled to keep their faith alive amid the stress and persecution they were experiencing. And James wrote about faith in a language they could understand. In chapter 1, he laid out the structure of the book as he moved from topic to topic, and he then developed the topics in subsequent chapters. The lectionary reading today is taken from James 1, 17 to 27. It includes some of the well-known verses you may have written. Be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. That's verse 19. Another verse, be doers of the word and not merely hearers. That's verse 22. James began by reminding us not to be deceived. God the Father has freely given everyone a taste of his changeless goodness and generosity. He is the Father of light, with whom there is no shadow or variation due to change. He is the giver because he is the creator. The light was his first order of creation, and we are his chosen ones, whom he gave birth to through the word of truthfulness, so that we might be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. James criticized those who responded to God with only partial commitment. He said they were double-minded or half-hearted, unstable in all their ways. Jesus also echoed the same sentiments, warning against setting our hearts on earthly treasures or against putting one's hand on the plow and looking back. James understood how easy it was to mix allegiance to God with practical concerns for oneself. Still, he cautioned his readers that such divided loyalties would not serve or help them during difficult times of trouble. James called his readers to be particular about how they spoke, because speech is easy, it's immediate, and very difficult to control. Once the words are out of the mouth, they cannot be recaptured. One cannot insult a neighbor and presume to be approved by God when both are created in God's image. And there's more than merely listening to divine teaching. It has to be put into effect in our lives to show we are not half-hearted and unstable believers. James does not warn against all speech or anger, but against speaking too quickly and becoming easily angered. He wanted the community to turn from filthy and evil behavior and instead welcome God's implanted word. For James, there was a gap between knowledge and wisdom. Knowledge is knowing ideas about God in a person's mind. Wisdom is living and acting from the soul and what is known about God in the mind. James wanted this critical gap closed in his religious community. And he used the metaphor of looking at one's face in a mirror, and once turned away, the person immediately forgets what they looked like. The contrast is looking into the perfect law that gives freedom to hear and do what the law says. That person is blessed in what they do. James chapter 1 is summed up in verses 26 and 27, and there are three themes that merge as one. The first one, there's pure religion. And according to James, one needs to keep a tight rein on their tongue and speech. Secondly, there needs to be care for the marginalized, especially orphans and widows, is how faith is acted out, and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. And thirdly, there is the contrast between God and the world, which culminates in the pronouncement that friendship with the world is enmity with God. The question we are left to consider today is, what does it mean to live as a Christian? And what shapes that life? What does it mean to live as a Christian? And what shapes that life?